Hello, everyone, and we are the Matriarchs of Fandom. I am here today with Miss Liz and Miss Lady Gray. And a couple of shows ago, we started talking about some old childhood TV shows. We started out with the 70s and we did 80s version last time that we met. And Miss Liz used to watch a lot of cop shows in the 80s. So I am going to have her talk about some of her few shows that she liked from the 80s, either cops or detective shows. And we're just going to discuss a few of them today. Miss Liz, go ahead, take it from here.
Well, I'm going to assume that most of us grew up watching Magnum PI with Tom Selleck, and that was one of the best. They did a pretty good job of rebooting it, but I still will always be. I mean, nobody can replace Tom Selleck, even though the guy that did the new show, he was pretty darn good too. But I always liked him and Higgins and he used to drive Higgins crazy. And that's about all I can say about that because I really, unless I've watched the episode recently, I don't remember a lot of them.
Okay, I actually have to agree with that. I remember I wasn't an active watcher of Magnum PI. If I recall, it came on Saturdays. It came out in 1980s and it ran 1980.
1980 to 1980 to 88.
Yes, and it ran for the 8 seasons. You know, he was in Hawaii. I did see when I looked up the show that Orson Welles actually did the voice in 5 of the episodes of the mysterious, I guess, owner of Robin Nest. And that's the place where the show was pretty much at in Hawaii. Tom Selleck was really, really big, back in the 80s. He had those short shorts on, kind of Hawaiian shirts that I remember driving around the fast cars. So my daughter did watch the newer version, which I think came out in 2018. I didn't watch it, but I know she really thought it was a pretty good show.
Well, I watched it too. I liked liked the reboot, and I did like the casting, and I thought they did a pretty good job. And I liked the fact that we had a British lady playing Higgins
Oh,
part, and so it was interesting. I kind of liked and they had a lot of good writing and episodes and whatnot, but it was good.
all right.
It wouldn't replace Tom, but it was good. The guy that got to play his part, he was not bad looking either.
Okay. Okay. Now, I did also read that it was in the top 20 for the first 5 years that the show was on. And actually, in 1982 to 93, it was actually the third most popular show on TV at the time.
Oh,
Lady Gray, did you watch Magnum PI?
I watched it a little. I was pretty young when it was out, so I don't remember a whole lot of it. I did watch the reboot, and I really liked the reboot. I felt like they developed the characters really well in the reboot. I don't remember them developing the characters quite as well in the original series, but in a lot of this older shows that I don't feel like they developed the characters quite as well. They didn't go into the backstory quite as much. So I like that they do that sometimes in the newer series. Sometimes I feel like they kind of get lost in the details in the newer series and give us too much backstory. So, there's a fine balance. I don't know. I liked it. It was probably a little too mature for me back when it came out, but I liked it. And I mean, the car, what's not to love about the car? Come on. Everybody loved his car. So
Now, since it sounds like the both of y'all kind of watched the old version and new version, Miss Liz, which one would you say that you like better, the '80s version or the 2018 one?
Actually, I think I like the newer version better because I liked a lot. Like she said, we got to really know the characters a lot better in the newer version, and I was a lot older and I kind of understood it more. And but Tom Selleck was good.
Okay,
But
okay,
I think they did a really good job on the reboot.
okay. Lady Gray, the same question.
agree. Yeah, I really feel like they developed the characters a lot more in the reboot. Um, and that's not taking anything away from Tom Selleck, but they the writing seemed better in the reboot. They just they put more to it. It was there was more intelligence in it and less just beefcake cheesecake.
Okay,
Look here, less look. It's a woman in a bikini in a pretty car. And more actual storyline.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Miss Liz, what is the next TV show?
I got Cagney and Lacey,
Okay, okay.
and it was fun watching them, being the fact that they were girls.
Women.
Yeah, girls, women, 81 to 88. And I think they did a really good job. You know, I really enjoyed the show. It was fun to see uh, women playing, smart detective roles. And it was just enjoyable.
Okay, okay. I do want to say hello to some listeners. We have Taco Cat, I saw Rob, I saw Calabas, Mark and Mark. I do appreciate y'all watching our show today. Thank you, thank you.
And it looked like somebody just said then they're going to go watch the game.
Oh, that game you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, well, I've got it on my TV and I'm taping it, so I won't miss anything.
Best thing to do is that DVR.
Yeah,
Cadney and Lacey, I once again, um, it's kind of weird because I love detective shows now, cop shows now. I kind of do agree with Lady Gray that I think in the '80s, even though I always thought I was kind of mature as in watching some TV shows, I wasn't watching the little teeny bopper shows even back then. But I vaguely remember this show. I do know. I think one of them, which was Katney, she was a single mother. She was single, living by herself. Whereas Lacey was married. She was a mother, and there was dealing with working in a male drawn role, being New York cops and being females and dealing with those issues. Lady Gray, Katney and Lacey.
I know of it. I don't remember watching it. I'm sure my mom watched it. I remember because my mom had to have watched it because I remember seeing it come on the TV, but I think it would have come on at like 10 o'clock at night, which then I would have been heading to bed because I would have had school the next morning. So and like you said, as much as I love mysteries and stuff like that, you would think I would have watched it. So I don't know why I didn't, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's not one I've ever watched. I think I would probably have liked it if it would probably be one if they rebooted it and it came out now. It would probably be one I would like, but I don't know. But not
Okay.
one I ever watched.
All right. I can agree to that. I can definitely agree to that. All right, Miss Liz, what's the next show?
Miami Vice,
Okay.
and this was a big show. 84 to 80 89. It was definitely a lot of the guys liked this show. That because they were very macho, and yeah, they had a really nice car, and they were good looking, and it was kind of like an offshoot of Magnum, but it was different because it was a pair of them, and they were always shooting them up and whatnot. There seemed to be a lot of you know gunplay in in those shows.
Hmm.
And I think the whole reason we probably watched it is because it was on television. It was not one of my favorite shows because just wasn't into that really, but it was on, so and it was one of the ones on the list, and it's supposed to be one of the popular ones.
Yeah. I believe they had a great soundtrack that I kind of remember to this day. And honestly, the most thing that I really, really remember about Miami Vice was the colors. Seeing the ocean, and and they were in Florida, and it was always sunny.
And
I
nice cars.
Yes, yes. So I definitely remember that of the show. Once again, it was a show that, I think it came on Fridays, if I recall. I would glance at it, but, it just wasn't something that I watched regularly. I don't know what I was watching on Friday nights. Maybe I was playing video games with my dad. But definitely I remember the colors and the brightness of the show. Lady Gray, what do you remember of Miami Vice?
I think I watched it a little bit. I wasn't an avid fan, but I mean, I remember watching it some. I remember like Phil Collins being on there and a few other big name people really like, must have been really big fans because, they got them on there and they did a lot of the music. And that was one of the things I really remember about it was the music was very bluesy and dangerous and, kind of hip, and I don't know. That's kind of all I really remember about it. I'm not big on the gangs and the drug and the seedy kind of mysteries. I kind of like the more that I don't know, Agatha Christie type mysteries. I
Okay,
don't like that kind of mystery too much.
I
So
got you. I
yeah.
got you. All right, interesting. Miss Liz, what's another
Well,
show from the
I
80s?
have now this one I can actually say I've probably maybe seen maybe 3 or 4 episodes ever because
Okay,
it was not my cup of tea, but apparently my mother liked it because it was on. Uh, Hill Street Blues,
okay,
81 to 87. And there's not much I can remember about this one other than, like she says, there was a lot of, it was, a lot of cops, catching the bad guys and they weren't they weren't soft about it. They could nowadays they could not get away with the things they did on Hill Street Blues as far as roughing the roughing the bad guys up, which basically pretty much they kind of deserved. But uh, now that we're in this lovely politically correct world, they would never have gotten away with it.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, yeah, somebody just typed yes, they had a very good song.
yeah. There's another good theme songs. Yeah.
Another good theme song.
Now, it won 26 Emmys, and the
Oh,
most one it did for the outstanding drama series.
oh yeah,
And they were really talking about the work struggle being, I think they were in New York, if I recall.
oh yeah, and it
And
was rough.
yeah, yeah, and you're right. It's definitely different from shows that we see now. I did not watch Hill Street Blues. I believe it came on at 10. And I think, the only show that I stayed up past 10 to see was Dynasty. And so I did not watch this one, but I definitely remember the theme song, like I think Marky Mark said. Lady Gray, what about this show?
Definitely too mature for me at that age. I like everybody said, I remember the theme song. My mom watched it, and I remember because my mom used to play the piano, and she had the sheet music to this one, and I remember her playing this theme song on the piano. It was always really pretty when she would play it on the piano. So that's oddly the odd thing I remember about the show is has nothing to do with the show is my mom playing the theme song on the piano is what I remember about this show. It's weird little remembrance. So
But there's nothing wrong with that because, sometimes, some of these childhood shows, I might not necessarily remember a particular episode, just a feeling. And
hmm
obviously, the feeling with you was the theme song with your mother. So
yeah, I
it did
love
its
listening
job.
to her play the piano. So yeah,
Yeah, it did
Well,
its job.
yeah.
he just mentioned one of the ones I have on my list, Barney
Oh,
Miller,
okay, go into that
which
one. Who
I
haven't?
actually liked Barney Miller. I liked that show. And,
Oh my goodness, that show.
but that one started in 75 and ended in 82. And they had a lot of famous people in that show.
Mhm.
And there was humor in there. Uh, they had humor, plus they got their job done and whatnot. But the fact is that they actually got along, most of them, and and they and they and they definitely had a you know they got they did laughs because I think it helped them get through whatever they had to get through. And there's some the actors that were in that show are people really remember them, like Abe Pagoda and that kind of thing.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Hal and a couple of the other ones all went on to do other things, and people pretty much remember them. And that was a good show. And yes, they had a good theme song also. And it was on in a decent hour that we actually got to see it.
I did not watch Barley Miller, but I did look up online, and they're in New York City, the East 6th Street. Most of the episodes related in Manhattan and the Squad Room
Yep.
in the Manhattan Greenwich Village. And I did look up that the show officially was not canceled. It's just that the writers could not think of any new ideas on the show.
Yep.
So they decided to stop doing the show.
Well,
So
it was on for quite a while, so
yes, 8 seasons. So not bad, not bad. Lady
and
Gray, I know you said you didn't watch the show at all.
I've heard of it. I think it's what my parents watched, but that's about it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, it looks it looks a little mature for me,
Yeah,
So, I now I probably would, try to give it
yeah.
a watch, but in what 85, I would have to watch it in reruns, and I don't doesn't look like it was something that I remember doing that with. All right, Miss Liz, what is the next 80 classic?
well, I'm hoping everybody watched this. Matlock with
Okay,
Andy Griffith.
okay.
Excellent show, 86 to 95. And he kind of reminded me a little bit of Perry Mason because he always got his man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like Columbo, he always got him, and Perry Mason and Columbo, they always managed to get the bad guys. And I actually, I really liked him better than I did in the Andy Griffin show. I liked him better as Matlock than I did as the sheriff. He actually, as Matlock, he actually looked like he got a job done and that kind of thing, because it didn't look like he did much in Andy Griffith when he was playing the sheriff. It didn't look like they did anything in that town other than take the drunk and put him in the jail every weekend, or go get their hair cut, or that kind of thing. That's all I really, and go fishing. So that's why I think I liked him better at Matlock. They actually got, you know, they actually did a job, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. I did watch Matlock. He was the defense attorney pretty much for not necessarily for the rich, but I kind of remember that he always took cases where he got paid well for.
Oh yeah.
I do watch the newer version of Matlock, when with Kathy Bates. When it first came on, I did not think that I would like it. It's a little bit different if you haven't seen this, the newer version. But it kind of grew on me a little bit. So I think it's supposed to start sometime next month. Lady Gray, you did your hands up like that. So I can assume you did watch Matlock.
I love me some Matlock. And I know that. Well, I said that I like the Agatha Christie type murder mysteries. Well, that's Matlock. He's solving a mystery, and like you said, he always gets his man. And I love the way he goes about it. Because he's never always bold and in your face until he catches that scent, and then he's like a dog with a bone, and he gets on the trail and he's gonna get you. And he does sometimes take very wealthy clients and he gets paid very well, but then he'll see somebody he thinks is being done wrong, and he will go over there and be, and I remember one episode, because sometimes I'll put it on, like if I'm sewing or something. And one episode I watched the other day, he was just like, he was down at the jail and he saw somebody being mistreated, and he kind of just stepped over there and was like, no, stop talking. And the person was like, well, I can't afford you. And he goes, I don't care. I'll do a pro bono case if I feel like it. And that was, he didn't always do it just for the money. He did it for justice. And I did start watching the new series, and I kind of lost interest after the first few episodes. So what you're telling me is I need to just stick with it and give it and be patient a little bit.
Yeah, give it a little bit more time, because I definitely felt the same way when I watched the first few episodes. I record everything, so it wasn't a show that I'll watch when it was on. Just everything else on the DVR I've seen. Let me go ahead. I recorded it. Let me go ahead and watch. Different, I don't want to tell you too much if you just in the beginning of it, but definitely different, as in they both was lawyers, but that's kind of a reason why she's doing what she's doing.
Because she seemed almost vindictive, and I was kind of like, that's not the Matlock I remember was fun, and he did it for the sense of justice, and I'm like, I don't like how she's being vindictive, but I'm like, but then I kind of get it, because if it was my daughter, I would want to be too.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I need to get back to it and watch it. I don't know.
See, I felt the same way you felt, that it was like, okay,
this isn't the Matlock I remember.
Yes, there was episodes where I really was, what you're doing is not cool. I get why, but you're hurting people once they find out what you're doing. But I don't want to tell you anymore.
Okay. But the original Matlock, I will put it on and I will watch it, just like if I'm sewing or whatever. It's one of my favorite shows of all time.
Okay.
That Murder, She Wrote.
I didn't put Murder, She Wrote up here. Okay. Forgot about that one. Miss Liz, you got another one for us?
You'll know why I watched this one. And there was only one reason I watched this one, and that was TJ Hooker.
Oh, okay. I wonder what the reason is.
Could be that Captain Kirk was on it.
Oh. Well, TJ Hooker ran for 5 seasons. Started out.
I liked him, and I liked his partners too. Yeah, but
Shatner had a locklear,
and he had one hell of a toupee in that episode. In those episodes,
well, he always in a toupee.
I know, but some of his toupees over the years were really good, and then some of them were like, okay, what were you thinking?
Budget. It's probably a budget issue.
to pay budget.
Yes. Lady Gray, did you watch TJ Hooker?
Not originally. I did try a couple years ago when I was fishing for something to watch, because like on like the Sunday afternoons when I'm sewing, I'm looking for like a series to binge while I'm sewing. I tried to put it on, and I tried TJ Hooker was one that came up, and I couldn't get into it. And I tried for the same reason that you watched it, because William Shatner was in it, and I like William Shatner, but I couldn't get into it. It was too cheesy for me, because it's just old enough that it's just a little too cheesy for me.
Yeah, it was a little cheesy.
Yeah, I tried.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
I
I
agree
watched it back in the day.
But he's the only reason I watched
Yeah.
it, was the reason I put up with the cheesiness, is because I wanted to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with Lady Gray. I tried to, because it was, Captain Kirk. So I didn't watch it either. Heather Locklear, I think someone said it was a big draw at the time, and she really was. But I can't say I watched it, but it was, my parents have. So, All right, Miss Liz, you got another one?
I only got two more.
Okay.
One I'm sure most of you didn't watch, but I liked it because it was a good detective show, and the fact that, yes, they basically got paid for going out and finding the bad guys. They were kind of like bounty hunters. Simon and Simon. It didn't last very long. Didn't get very good ratings, but I did like some of the writing and some of the storylines, but it never really took off.
Okay.
But I did watch it.
Okay.
That's all I can tell you about it. Other than the fact, like I said, they were pretty much like bounty hunters, or they were freelance detective type thing, and they tried to always do the right thing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, they were brothers.
Yeah.
And one was a Catholic, and the other one wasn't. So they did had, kind of, they loved each other. They're that family, mentality. Just like the two brothers with Supernatural. They had that love for each other, but still kind of was different people. So I did read that up. Lady Gray, did you watch Simon and Simon?
Nope. I've heard of it, but yeah, that would have been one my parents would have watched. Not.
I was just really, it didn't really take off.
Yeah.
It was only on for a couple of years. So now my last show, I'm sure everybody has watched it in reruns. I know I have. And Rockford Files.
I did not watch that.
Oh, really? James Gardner, you didn't watch Rockford Files? Because he's another one of those people that always got his man. He would go out and he would get the job, and like Lady Gray said about Madlock, when he got his teeth into something, he didn't let go until it was done. Kind of like Columbo. But I actually liked him better than Columbo. And I watched all Columbos.
Oh yeah, I love Columbo.
And but Rockford Files, I liked him. He was not rich. He did what he could do, and he was always, pinching a penny here and there and whatnot, because he never really got paid a lot of cash. But he was successful in getting the people, when he did stuff. But he didn't have a lot of backing as far as when he went out and did jobs. He did not get paid well.
Well, he did. Using Google as a reference, He worked a lot of cold cases, missing
Yep.
persons, insurance scams, and he was actually went to jail for a crime that he did not commit. So I thought that was interesting. So when he got out of jail, him and his friends went out and solving some of these crimes. Lady Gray, no.
I mean, I've heard of it, and I want to say I've seen it in passing on TV, but I've never sat and watched an episode. It actually sounds pretty interesting. Like it might be kind of cool as a remake, maybe a reboot or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
The concept sounds kind of cool.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. I agree. I agree.
yeah,
And
All right.
I like James Gardner, so you know.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
He
As an
was
actor, I just never really watched the show. But I remember.
Yeah, I remember it.
I think my grandmother was very fond of that show.
Mm. Okay. Okay.
But at least when she the what she got to watch before we lost her, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because we lost her in the 80s, so she didn't get to watch a lot of these, but she did. She did like her detective shows.
Mm. Well, I actually added two more that I really liked. So I'm going to go ahead and do it quickly because we're kind of at the 31-minute mark.
Okay.
For me, my number one show, it came out in 1985, 5 seasons. It was Moonlighting.
I remember that.
Moonlighting.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God!
It
Yeah.
went on for 5 seasons.
Oh yes.
Silver Shepherd, Bruce Willis. It was
Oh,
crime,
Bruce Willis. Yes.
drama, a romance. Now, kind of sad the last 2 seasons. She got pregnant with the twins, kind of left the show for a while. Then, like halfway through that season, he broke like his leg. And, the other two people on the show pretty much ran the Blue Moon Detective Agency. And shortly after that, it canceled, even though I thought they had a great on-screen chemistry. I read years later they kind of hate each other.
Oh.
So, but love Moonlighting. Ms. Liz, did you watch the show?
I didn't watch a lot, but I did watch several, like I said, I watched the early years, and then I probably after that I was busy in the Navy and whatnot, so it didn't get to see a lot. But when it first started out, yeah, when I had access to a television set, I would watch it. But
Yeah.
but when you're in the Navy,
Yes.
I didn't have access to a TV the early years of my military career, but later on I did.
Of course. One TV in the house. Lady Gray, did you watch Moonlighting?
I know I did.
Oh, you're killing me.
I know I did, but I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember. I mean, I know the concept of the show. She was like the model or something like that, and she was rich, and he was kind of not really a con guy, but a little bit of a
con artist,
a little bit, and but they worked well and played well off each other. So yeah, I kind of remember it. Yeah.
Okay, watch the show. I love the show. I haven't seen it since then, but if I ever get stuck somewhere, on a cruise ship, and you only watch that one show that comes on the one channel, and this was on, I would sit there and watch it.
Okie doke.
Yeah. And for me, my last show that I really, really like, I guess to say, of the shows that we mentioned, this would actually kind of be my number two. It started in 85 and ran for 5 seasons, and it's Realton Steele. I was a really big fan.
I have some of these on DVD.
Yes, he was a former.
I don't have the complete season, but I have a couple of them.
Yeah, this was a good show. I mean, I know y'all talk about y'all handsome men. For me, was Pierce Brosnan. So
Hubba, hubba.
Yeah, this was, I think it was a really good show and kind of remind me a little bit of Moonlighting. Maybe that's why I would consider this, for me, my number two, because, they had a really good on-screen chemistry. He kind of was a con artist too, a thief. She was kind of, she wasn't getting no respect in being a PI and came up with this person, Reddington Steele, and Pierce Brosnan character, Reddington Steele, came across of it and pretty much said he was this person. So even though this person officially didn't exist, he came in being a con man, took over this character, and they would go out and, solve crime pretty much since they were both a PI. Lady Gray, did you watch Reddington Steele at all or kind of remember it?
I think I remember my mom watching this one. Because I think this would have come on by the time this would have been on TV. I think I would have been working in the evening, so it wouldn't have been one that I could have watched in the evenings. But I think I remember seeing it like as I was coming in from work, like going on or coming off. So I don't remember watching it, but I remember hearing of it. It's kind of a cool concept, and I mean, yeah, Pierce Brosnan is awesome and hot. So yeah,
yes.
Yeah. I loved him as Remington Steele. He was, and the fact that she caught him in a scam, and she pretty much kind of sort of blackmailed him into the job. But then he turned out he really liked doing the job, and then he liked her, and then they worked well together. And like you said, she was getting no respect and no credit for all the work she was doing, and he basically pretty much he was the face of the company, even though she was the backbone, as it were. And I liked it because I thought Bruce he was rather, he was eye candy, let's put it that way.
Yeah, definitely.
And then when he became James Bond, oh my God.
Definitely. All right, ladies. Well, it looks like that's all we have time for today. I do want to say thank you for everyone that watched the show today. I want to thank for Lady Gray for joining us, and Miss Liz kind of, coming up with some of the 80 cop detective shows that she liked from the time period. Please, if you like us, like, subscribe, and good night.